My hat! But in the previous video, I assembled the differential, which was in bag 5. Now, I thought bag 5 was inside of bag 6. It turns out it was inside of bag 9. Bag 6 is a completely different bag, and this is where we will begin assembling the actual differential. And I just said differential, it's the transmission, I apologize. But we have these gears. Now, this transmission does use plastic gears, which is one of the reasons why I would not recommend this for a build that uses too powerful of a motor if you're planning on using, say, a short course and a buggy to make a drag car. Again, if you're using just a 15.5, you should be fine with the 15.5, but if you're planning on going with anything too crazy, perhaps consider a different platform. But for the purposes of this is great. This is a great platform. These appear to be different plastics than the main ones in the chassis, but we will leave that there. One of the things that I do like, and I've said this before in one of the previous ones, is so far I like the way all the plastics, they come off pretty clean. And the plastics I do feel they're high quality. Now, it's the same as the quality is the same as the 6.1, I believe. 6.1 was a very good truck. So here we go. We have the two different mounts, and we're going to pick one. Now this one's going to have a laydown transmission, but right now it's just a matter of taking all this apart. And later on I can make some adjustments, but for now that's the goal. So we will open the other bags. Now I do not remember the 6.1, to be honest. Maybe it was just a bunch of plastic gears as well. That's a possibility, but I do not remember. Because to be honest, I'm going through this and I'm surprised with how many plastic gears, but it could have been all plastic gears. I mean, it could be because I've been used to the drag car and other vehicles now that, you know, I see plastic gears and I'm somewhat surprised. That's a lot of hardware. All right. So one of the things that will make your life easier is just to separate everything. And you go by sizes. So we have these here, or you can just look for them as you go. I guess that's always another option. And it just becomes a pain. And just want to have a general idea of where the different sizes are. That's a different size. Looks about right. But here we go. So far, I don't know if, I think it's looking like we're going to end up using most of the hardware. I think I'm just going to look for the hardware as we go. Nope, I'm going to keep organizing it. Just a few more pieces, just so I can see everything. All right, and here's this a roll pin. That's just a regular pin. No, it is a roll pin. All right, good. So here I can, as long as I can see everything. The best thing to do would be to organize everything by size. that's really the best way to go. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and just start talking about bag 6. So bag 6, step 1. I have to grab the transmission housing, and then I'm going to look for those bearings and those gears. So the first things would be the 2 halves, and these are the 2 halves right here. And you have to line them up left and right. So once they're assembled, they're going to go like this. And this one right here is that one. This one is this one. So this is going to go into some bearings. So the bearings here, I'm going to go ahead and put these in here, and you're looking at the 5x10x4. Those are the bearings that we're going to be using, and you will be, let's see, is that a different size bearing? Oh, there's a pin that goes there, that's why. Alright, so we have this here, and this will go in there. That just drops in right in here, and then this will drop in right in there. And if you hear something, it's probably my neighbor's dog. And that bearing will go in here. So these 2 bearings are going to go right on top of each other, because you're going to have this long idle gear. Actually, they will not. Just realized. Alright. There's a little groove in the gear. So I will show you. So one bearing, it's actually easier if you put it in the bearing. So if you look in there, there's that little groove. Alright. Just going to set that there, and then this bearing. Put this guy in here, and that will drop in there. Alright. That is set. So now the only thing that I need is I need the bearing that goes on the other side, and I have the bearing that goes on the other side right in here, and that completes the process. So we have bearing, that little pin, 2 bearings, and then the idler gear. And at this point, now that we have this here, just realized this is the wrong gear. Fun. I get to replace everything. Because there's no contact, there's no meshing between the gears. It's late. I'm not going to tell you how late it is, but it's late. You can probably tell by the lighting, because it's better lighting whenever it's late. There's no light coming from the window. So we'll go ahead and put these in there. Alright, I apologize. Here we go. And we have that there. Alright, there we go. That makes sense. And you just bring this together, and if I spin this, the gear spins. Right, great. Now that you have this, you're going to use the 16mm screws. Now the 16mm screws are going to be, I believe these here, this looks 16, yeah, these are it. So these are the 16mm screws. I'm going to use 2 of these 16mm screws, and these I will go ahead and use for the bottom portion. So this will hold this together. This is the first step. And I can still drive it further. Let me flip it this way so I can actually see how far along. And do not over tighten this. This should just go in snug, and that's it. And the reason why is if you start to over tighten, it will tighten this bottom portion, but then it'll want to split on top. It'll want to open up, and that's the reason why. So just drive the screw in. And that's it. All right, there we go. So that is complete. The shaft is now hanging out. Now, at this point, we now, so one of the things is, notice these here. All right. So I'm not sure if you can tell the difference between the two, but one of them sits a little higher than the other. So those are your two options that you can go with. I'm going with this one here. This one would use this gear, that smaller gear. All right, so that's the reason why we have this gear over here. And at this point, I'm going to continue the build. I can always go back and switch it over. I know I wanted the laydown. So the laydown gearbox is going to be 91,791, and the other one is going to be 91,716. Now in this here, I don't think there's any markings on it, to be honest. I do not see any markings. Nope, no markings. So let's go ahead and just build this one, since this is the one that we are building. And your clutch is going to go in here. So when you grab the two, before you even start building, one of the things that you can do is just kind of sit them next to each other, and you're going to notice that one of them is longer than the, let's see, this one would sit, oh boy, let's see if I can hold them. All right. So see how one is longer than the other? So we're using the longer ones for this build, and then this one's shorter. So if you use this shaft or this as a reference point with relationship to this, that's how you can tell, because all the other points are the same, right? There we go. All right. So now we can move that there. All right, that is here. Great. Perfect. And now we can work with this. So at this point, we're going to grab this piece, and this piece will just use one countersunk screw. The interesting thing, and I don't know why they would do this, but it screws on right in the middle of the two. It almost seems like it would be better to have two screws, one on each side, but that's the way it is. And you're going to use, before you even screw that on, there are two ball studs right in here. You're going to need two of the blue washers, and these blue washers, you're going to need two of them. So these are millimeter washers. You're going to need two of them, because they make these in bulk. I'm sure it's less expensive to just make multiple 1 millimeter washers than it would be to make a few 2 millimeter washers. But because this will be, you will be screwing this onto aluminum, so metal on metal, go ahead and apply a little bit of thread lock. And according to the instructions, we are going for the center hole. So notice there's 3 holes on the side. You will go in the center if you want the stock setting. Later on, once you drive it, test it, then you can decide which one you want to go into. And maybe in the future I'll make some videos just telling you what the difference is. Just depends if you want the links to be longer, shorter, because it will make a difference. If you've ever heard of roll center, for example, it will change the theoretical roll center of the vehicle. But here we go. Right now we're just focusing on building it. All the other information would be tuning, and that's a different topic. Here we go. All right. And all right. Oh, so I guess I see why. So this will sort of snap on. So these two halves will actually snap inside of this aluminum piece. And now I just need the 8 millimeter countersunk screw, which will be, that looks too thin. I need a 3 millimeter thick screw. Here we go. That's it. And let's see. These, I think, measuring. Right. Yeah. So you measure from the top on these. So this would be, measure from, what am I talking about? All right, here we go. Oh, come on. Maybe it is the short one. Before I even try it. The short one. It is the short one. All right, so it's the very small one. You're going to use a 1.5mm driver, so it's that one. Don't do this at 4 a.m. 4 a.m.? It's not 4 a.m. All right, good. So that one is in there. Let's see. Oh yeah, 2.5. It is the thin one. I should have known. Read the instructions, right? Great. So far we've completed this section over here, and now we are on this other section. And the height of the transmission will affect everything. So I'm actually just going to start at the lower setting, and then if I have to adjust, I'm just going to go up. So if you look at these will have a number. For example, this one here has a 3 and a 0. And this one over here has a 2 and a 1. So depending on how you place it, you will get either the 3 or the 0 or the 2 and the 1. So the 2 and the 1, those are for the mid settings. Now I'm going to be using the one with 0, and then if I want to move it up, I will use the other ones. But for this, now I need my differential. So differential, you will need to use lubricant. I'll lubricate this once it's in there. I find it easier to do that. But you're going to need your bearings. And again, the dust shields, I'll place these on the outside. And there's a bearing that goes on each side. So once I have the bearing on each side, then I can place these. And these, think about it as a hat. The lip goes toward the gear. This will go in here, and this one will go in here. Just place them in there. It doesn't really matter because you can spin them. So don't worry about which way it's oriented. You can spin it later and then figure it out. But try to get the 0 with the 0. So get the numbers to correspond. And this is the way I will be dropping this in. So this will drop right in here, and you're going to see those little grooves. It will just slide right in here and should make contact. So this is now what I want to grease. So I want to make sure that I grease this. And if you forget, if you look at here, it says 91, right? 6591. Just flip it over. Oh, actually it wants me to use the other one. Oh, I'm surprised. 6191. I guess it makes sense because this is very thin and generally plastic lubricants. So if you've ever built a Tamiya, it comes with a very similar lubricant. Tamiya uses a lot of plastic. Shafts, everything. Thinking of a man truck right now, if you followed that build. All right. And here we go. Let's just use some more. I guess this is a better lubricant. These plastic lubricants, such as this one here, the same that we use for the differential, it doesn't go hard and sticky like black grease does. So this is a better lubricant. And at this point, I'm just going to spin this, make sure there's an even coat. And I'm actually turning it. The reason why I'm turning it isn't really so you can get a better visual. Is so that the light reflects on it, which you cannot pick up, but I can pick up here. And that's how I can tell if there's an even coat or not. I'm just looking for the reflection of the lubricant. That way I know where to apply some more, if I need to apply some more. Such as here. And that's it. That's all I need. So I'm looking for the reflection of the lubricant here, as well as the idler gear. Now there's plenty of lubricant. All right. Now we have two of these, and they are going to be, they should be different. I believe they are different. Maybe they're not. It's just by looking at them this way, I can't tell them apart. Might be the same. Oh, here we go. Layback. So this one's labeled. Layback transmission. This is the other one. All right. So, all right. Finished with this. Good. It's in there. Perfect. All right. Correct set. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this in. And that one would fit the other one. Here we go. So we have the layback one, which is the transmission I want to build. So long story short, if you want the layback, you're using the larger idler gear. If you use the small idler gear, you're using the stand-up transmission. I believe that's what they call it. Might be wrong. But let's see. So we're using, based on this, there's a 16, and then we use two 16s, and the two 16s go here. So those seem long. Those seem really long. That's what it calls for. All right, that's what it calls for. So we need two 16s and two 12s. So 16s, if I recall, it's these long ones. Let's see. No, these are way too long. So I do not recall correctly. It's going to be these other ones. Let's see. This is more of 17, but these have to be 16. Right, and then we need two 12s. It'll probably be these. Probably not. No, this is too long. Wait, this is 16. These are longer. Maybe these are 18. Right, so we have the 16s there, and this is the 12. No, this is too long to be a 12. Probably these here. Indeed, these are it. Wait, what is this? That's far too long. Right, so we need another one this size. It's going to be this one. There we go. So again, we have 16s, two 16s, and then two 12s. Now the 16s go here. They go through the aluminum. Just think about it that way. And the two 12s go through only plastic. So those go right in here. And again, everything is a 2.5, a 2 millimeter driver. You're just going to drive them, and I'm going to get this one close. I'm going to flip it this way so I can see. Close, but I'm not going to tighten it completely. And then I'm going to go to the other one. And once again, do not over tighten this. You want to drive them in. Once they're snug, that's it. Because if you over tighten the plastic, it will warp. And you don't want the plastic to warp. Drive this one close. Then once I do this one, then I'll bring the other one close. Actually, if I twist both things, it'll be faster. No, I'm not trying to make you dizzy. I'm just trying to make this a little quicker by hand. So I'm holding this, and then I'm just slipping my hand through as I'm turning the driver with the transmission. Alright, so now at this point, I can go ahead and start to tighten. There should be a sway bar in here. Maybe it doesn't come with a rear sway bar. I mean, there's a chance it may not come with a rear sway bar. I guess I'll find out. So rear sway bar would go in here. If you open this up, drop it in there. See, and then it would come out these ends. I'm not seeing a rear sway bar. To be honest, I don't think I'm going to need a rear sway bar. It's the front one that I'll be needing, mainly because it's going to be on a high traction surface. So I need that front sway bar to help me stop me from traction rolling. Well, it may not stop me, but it would help me control it. Whereas the rear, that would be on lower surface, less traction, where maybe I want more steering. So if I want more steering, rear sway bar is important, but I don't want more steering. Not for carpet anyway. Here we go. All right, that turns nicely, and that is step 2. So we will go ahead and continue on with step 3 on the next one. Thank you so much.